in the midst of a movement. And every great movement was started by college students, whether it's the civil rights movement, SNCC and other things, where college students were the energy behind a movement. I think we're at the stage now where we need a mental health movement. We're in the process of transitioning our mission. One of the realities is there are three things to be successful in life, and it's been very clear. It was actually verified by Mars Wrigley here. I met with them. One is emotional well-being, that emotional resilience, that you've got to be emotionally resilient to deal with the natural ups and downs of life. That's one piece. The second is intellectual curiosity, that with artificial intelligence and other things, you've got to be a lifelong learner. You can't say, I've graduated from college, I don't need to learn anything more. No, you have to learn more than ever. And the third is intercultural competence, that you have to work with different people from different backgrounds. And in fact, not only work with them, but seek them out. You want to, people who are different than you are actually much more interesting than people who are just like you. We're in the midst of a society that's run by politics and run by big business, and often people are forgotten.
Since COVID, I think everybody has been more open. I think there was a fear before of saying, oh, I feel this way, feel that way, and to openly say it. For whatever fears, maybe they felt that they were, I don't know, below what the standard should be, or for whatever the case. I just think in campuses, yes, you see it. There's a lot of young people that don't know, and growing up is hard enough. But growing up when you're expected to do certain things, you're expected to get good grades, you're expected to be in class on time. Yes, it's part of becoming an adult, but it could be very, very stressful for some young kids. But I think it's everywhere, not only in campuses. It's just we're all more aware of it now in every single sector you look at.
One of the things, there's a Bible verse called Proverbs 31:8, which would be a voice for the voiceless and speak up for the destitute. And that's been kind of my personal driver, that I am more interested in those that have been forgotten, those that have been overlooked, those that are struggling in life. And so we as a society, we're judged by how we treat the most vulnerable. And we as human beings, whether we're vulnerable or not, we have a responsibility to do more than worry about our own problems. And guess what? We become happier when we do that. So I think that's part of this, the long answer to that I think that there are a lot of people suffering unnecessarily because they're suffering in silence and in quiet. And I think this combination can really help bring some things to light.
What I didn't know or realize about the world of psychiatry until long after I exited it, really recently, is that there's a kind of silent contract that you sign when you become a patient of psychiatry. I know not everybody's going to believe this, but I know that I ended up in the hospital 3 separate times because of side effects from these meds. That's just my truth. I was now mentally ill, and they were the experts and I was sick. And anything that I experienced there forward was now my illness, my mental illness, my problem, growing and changing and getting worse as I got older.
They were just like, no, you're mentally ill for the rest of your life. I said, this has got to be wrong. So I know that so much of this is, I always think of it as a colonialistic issue, where it's like, this is the story, this is the narrative that we came up with, this is what we're going with, and it's been passed down and reworked and revised, and it doesn't work. It's not sustainable. I feel like the current paradigm denies anything soulistic, and it's time for us to say, no, it's not enough. And frankly, it's, if we want to get like constitutional about it, it is against, people don't fight for their freedom of speech or freedom of religion enough. Right. This is something that if you believe in, you shouldn't be told that you're mentally ill. It's most of the world's beliefs. It's, if you look at everyone, most people believe that they are part of something larger than themselves. And to say that that's not real, and to give it such a claim to authority about it, that's what worries me. Because it's like, wow, where are you running with this? But we see how it can go.
So this is my medical report in 2005, my discharge. It's funny, like they have a quote. It says, she's complaining, quote, I don't want to be here. That sort of makes sense, right? My family and friends have to be with me. Like, isn't that cool? You don't want to be isolated? That makes sense. Not sure why it's in here. The report says the patient is diagnosed with bipolar disorder and was on lithium since 1978. I went off lithium when I graduated college, and I threw the pills away. I was required to be on it when I was in college. So the report says I've been on lithium since 1978. All right. Okay, this is an interesting one. It says cognition was intact. So what does that mean? Cognition intact? And I'm standing there in a locked ward.
And it's amazing how powerful influence is, that we do what we do, think the way we think, and accomplish what we accomplish because of influence, and people think that their way is the right way. Until you kind of shape their confidence and you start to really let them know, maybe there's another way. And I think that's what we have to do as a society, to not jump to judgments and say, okay, this is how you treat this, and this is the same thing as everything else that I've seen. Well, it's not.
And I remember praying and calling out to God. I just said, take this pain away, take this fear away. I have no idea how I'm going to function to complete my master's and etc. And literally, this is the moment, in an instant, it felt like there was a lightning bolt that struck me right in my forehead. I can't explain it.
Hi, my name is Carol Green.
Hi there. My name is Carol.
This can happen to you and you and even you.